Hey, what is up, DoT community? This is Jaeger bringing you an event rundown of the Theaters of War Lightning Edition. This event has been live for a little bit and is actually ending pretty soon, but I wanted to kind of bring my take and my rundown of what my overall thoughts of this next edition of the Theaters of War, TOW, have been. We've seen it go through some pretty significant changes over the past few events, from when it first started to one of the most recent flops with the Poison event, and now some of the actually very different tweaks that were made to the Lightning Edition. Everything down to timers, to how the overall event kind of runs, what's available in it and what's not. So stay tuned to this video, and let's go ahead and just do a rundown, overall breakdown of what can you get, what does it mean that might be coming, and what also has not been available. Plus a few other things that have kind of come up to be a little bit different with this TOW. So getting right into it, the overall all-new event set it up in a new way that we actually have tiers in our different Theaters of War. So rather than just having one specific type of event, you actually have almost three mini ones. You've got a bronze tier, a silver tier, and a gold tier. And what's really unique about this is they each got their own timer. After the last TOW Poison event flopped because the timer was set too high and the gem costs were just astronomical, players were pretty pissed. And we were really kind of pissed because the very first Theaters of War was something everybody absolutely loved. It was a phenomenal value, and to be honest and to be fair with it, it was actually too good of a value. Let's just go ahead and put that out there. So now we have three tiers. The bronze tier gives you a 6-hour timer to hit it as often as you want within the, overall day and a half we have. Silver was 12 and gold was 24, which is your typical arena timer. So it's not like we're seeing anything unusual there. But the community was pretty happy being able to almost reset the really high arena for great rewards every 6 hours or so that it was. But now it's standard for the gold tier, at least gives you those. Now, with each one of those tiers comes different types of relics that you could earn. In the gold tier, you were able to earn 2- and 3-star Storm Maiden relics, the brand new ones, and we'll take a look at those in just a little bit. You were also able to earn 3- and 4-star Norse God relics and 4-star lightning combat relics, which are ones we've already seen, things like Thunder's Grasp and such like Eye of the Storm. You were also able to earn 1-, 2-, and 3-star event relics for the upcoming Storm Maiden event, which actually starts on the 16th. Everything stays on track. Now again, we've got a few of these that I'll show you that I've actually earned from the arena, but unfortunately my luck only left me with a single 2-star event relic. When we look at the silver tier, what we have here, you've got 2- and 3-star Storm Maiden relics. You've got 3-star Norse combat. So again, this is going to be the Shield of the Gods, the Iceers, the belts, the fallen helms, and all that came throughout the different Loki, Thor, and Valkyrie events. Same thing with Odin. I really have only seen a lot of the different belts of the Iceer relics really kind of come up. Those have been some of the most popular ones. I haven't seen a lot of the Odin relics come across. I didn't get any of mine personally, and I haven't seen a lot in the chats. Here, again, you also have 1- and 2-star Gathering Storm. That's going to be the upcoming event. Relics. So as you kind of progress your way down, from gold to silver, your relics and rewards also tier down. The one thing that we do not see listed whatsoever is Titans, and that is something that kind of took the community almost by surprise, because we've really been used to getting 4-star Titans, especially, have almost been available by the handfuls. Again, when we go back to the original Theaters of War, it was loads and loads of 4-stars that people were pulling in. Again, I'm going to be pretty honest here, and I think relatively fair, that we were actually winning too many 4-stars, so it had to be tapered back. But no 4-star Titans were available here, and I think the reason is because of the upcoming event. When we drop down to the bronze tier, again, this can be reset every 6 hours, you've got only 2-star Storm Maiden relics. You've got, at max, 3-star Lightning Combat relics, and you also do have Portal Stones available. What was nice, at least what I noticed in the trend, is the Portal Stones were the set of 9, not just your 3, your 6, but it was this 3-star Portal Stones, so that was giving you a 9 refill each time you cash those in. So overall, you really got to kind of pick where you wanted to battle at, and we'll kind of take a look at what the different arenas were set up here and what their damage kind of output that you were challenged to take on. So here we have the Bronze Theater 1. Now the Bronze tier is the only tier that had 3 arenas available. You're looking at a level 15 Valkyrie going up against about 7,000 as far as the battle scale goes, which isn't anything really too impressive. I was actually sending in my Odin and level 18 troops I've got, and just auto rating it, not losing a single one. So my Odin I think is only about level 34 or so, but pretty simple. I mean, that's really kind of comes down to, even a new player, it's a great opportunity to come in and start building up a small collection of them. The troops that you were going up against were only at level 8, and you went up against 4 Storm Maidens, an Archer, and a Spearman. So again, really pretty simple. What I liked about these arenas is, you know, they kind of still had some variations to them. This is up and down from bronze to gold. Is it wasn't always repetitive, that you at least had, for the most part, 2 different maps to play in many of them. And again, with the Bronze Theater, here you have 3 different ones. So looking at Theater number 2, you also went up against Valkyrie, level 20, now at 10,000 damage. You had 6 troops, no spells. The thing to remember about these theaters of war is, as of right now, there are no troops, and the Titan does not buff the troops whatsoever. There's no spells, no spells, and the Titan does not buff the troops whatsoever. So really you're going at just whatever base value those troops have. Now looking at the Storm Maidens that you went up against, you had 3 Storm Maidens, 1 Archer, 1 Militia, and 1 Spearman. So again, pretty basic. This is something that if you battled it, you were most likely also auto rating this as well, just kind of getting a good feel for what these Storm Maids actually look like on the battlefield. And yet again, the opportunity to at least collect at the least 2-star brand new Storm Maiden relics. And we again are going to look at the details of what do these relics really have to offer and what's their skill set lineup. When looking at Bronze Theater Tier 3, yet again, you're going against Valkyrie, this time level 25. You're also going up against 20 troops. There are no spells. And once again, remember, this is the same throughout. The Titan is never buffing the troops in these arenas. So that is something to also really kind of consider when you get a feel for the troops throughout the arenas. Don't assume that they're always going to be maybe as simple or as difficult as they are, because it will always depend on the Titan and how that Titan is used to buff. So here you went up against actually a pretty good number of Storm Maidens this time around. And the troops that you were working with, or against actually, were all level 12. This might have given you a pretty good moderate feel of what Storm Maids might actually be like on the battlefield. Again, for any newer players, this will maybe be a little bit more of a challenge, depending on how prepared they are to take on these new Storm Maidens. The thing, of course, to keep in mind about Storm Maidens is they are a ranged troop. They do really well against single troops, but they're not as successful as the dev said against battalions, archers, rangers, spearmen, imperials, things like that. We now move on to the Silver Theater. In Theater 1, you were going up against Thor, starting out at level 30. You're also going up against 20 troops, no spells, and their damage scale here was at 105,000. This might have, again, depending on if you're using this as maybe just some testing ground, might have done pretty well. I always like to see Thor here in the mix. The one Titan we actually were missing out of the entire Theaters of War, there was no Loki in any of the arenas. Wonder why they kind of left him out. A bit deceitful, huh? Right? In this theater, you're also going up against level 16 troops. Again, a pretty good mix of Storm Maidens, Spearmen. You've got some militia, and there's also a couple archers that are thrown into the mix throughout this, but Storm Maidens are making up your main portion. Again, we'll give you a good feel for them, but I don't think for the most part any seasoned player is going to be too challenged by that. In Silver Theater 2, this here brought you a level 40 Thor. You've got 20 troops in the mix as well. 226 damage on the battle scale there. Yet again, no spells, no buffs coming from Thor whatsoever because, hey, anyways, he at least is just a champion. But even in the champion state, he is not giving himself really any buffs because he does not have any skills lined up in his little profile, right? It's just pure raw Titan. Here you're going up against level 20 Storm Maidens. Now what I do like to see here is we're getting an opportunity to see how Storm Maidens progress. As you can notice that they've now adopted this gold mask, this chainmail, there's this red kind of scarf to them. So the Storm Maidens will definitely change in appearance as they work from their very starting level all the way up to level 25 where they'll max out. And I thought that was pretty cool. We got a chance to get a good sneak peek here. Now these level 20 Storm Maidens definitely were a little bit tougher, but not as tough as what we saw in the Gold Theaters. In Gold Theater 1, the easiest of them, you were going up against a level 50 Odin. And with 30 troops, no spells, yet again a good mixture of Storm Maidens, you're looking at 609,000 on the battle scale. Now, this one, I saw a lot of players in the chatter kind of saying they were leaning towards this one a little bit more because they were having a hard time with some of the Storm Maidens at level 25, even with a little bit of lightning resistance. Now, looking at it, you are going up against level 23 troops here, and a good majority of them being Storm Maidens. I think depending on the map that you went in there and depending on how your battle strategy was, this was one that I could not find myself auto-raiding. All other arenas I was pretty much able to auto-raid. The Gold Theater, I did have to put a little bit of strategy into, and depending on the map, depended on kind of how I went at it. I found myself primarily using free spells in my attack, mostly just to kind of keep Odin in place. The Storm Maidens, I really didn't find to be any trouble. In Gold Theater 2, you went up against a level 60 Odin. 28 troops, again, majority Storm Maidens. They will be level 25s, you'll see in a moment. But 889,000, almost 890 on the battle scale. This one, I did hear a little chatter that some people were having some hard time beating it, even with a fair amount of lightning resistance. Again, I think it really comes down to strategy, and your strategy had to adapt as you were basically taking on two maps, either one where it was head-on or one where you were surrounded. Here, you're also working with level 25 Storm Maidens and other troops, but again, they're not buffed. But take a look at that change, that maybe final look of the Storm Maidens. They're now pretty much all gold with full chainmail all the way around, no more scarf. I really actually dig kind of how they've developed throughout there. Again, the Gold Theater, what was really unique about this is a 24-hour timer. Now I'm going to go ahead and show off one of my battles here that I did. This was actually the first battle I did against Gold Theater 2, so I was able to improve my strategy a little bit. But taking a look at these arenas, you know, they're pretty much found in the standard area where your arenas normally are. You know, so nothing changes there. Their layout, everything like that is still the same, but it's just a matter of who you're going to be battling. Now, again, with each one, you've got a mixture of different troops that you're going into. So we're going to take on that Gold Theater 2. This was my very, very first run at it, and working against level 25 troops, but not buffed. No skills on Odin. I really wasn't expecting anything too difficult, but I actually didn't have a really good time against the poison last time, so I was expecting to definitely have to put on some strategy. I'm coming in about 650,000 damage with a level 42 Siegfried. I bring in a meat shield of 5 spearmen, and the rest are all archers. Now, I'm not going to focus too much on my Siegfried and exactly what I rated with, but he does have the 5-star champion. It's still a level 1 relic. And then the rest are all archer damage, and I've got a, I think, what is it, the Iron Shield or Kite Shield, one of those two, that has spearman health. So this is pretty much my lineup. I'm just going to throw in a few extra frees on this one. I've got some cats as a little bit of backup, but I was just going to run in and see what do my archers do. You know, let's put these two ranged troops against each other and see kind of who comes out on top. And my first attack here, I was working with the surrounded map. So I've got Storm Maidens pretty much all around me. I've got Odin off to my left. So my initial strategy here is to just set up my meat shields. What I'll do is I just kind of move my spearmen around, I'll put my archers in place and have them kind of get them in range to be able to, you know, pick them off, while my spearmen will take the majority of the blows. But while this battle plays out, and you guys can kind of see what I do with basically just blocking the corners with spearmen, letting archers do their thing, and hopefully letting Siegfried get to Odin, right, is always initially what my plan is here, and let the archers do everything else. I also just want to talk about a few other things that were nice to see throughout this Theaters of War. One thing with this Theaters of War that was a bit different were the monuments also became set on the same timer, which means that you could hit every single monument And if you're watching this video and there's still time left on the event, go over to those monuments and hit them and get yourself a good amount of food, because I got 3 drops on every single one of them. And that's going to just give me some nice food for the next fusion event. So that's a plus. Now, anyone who's been playing this game for a while does know that the arenas and monuments actually used to be set up on individual timers like this, which means that you could hit every arena and every monument. And a little while after the game launched, I don't remember exactly what the time frame was on that, but they eventually switched all arenas and all monuments onto single timers. So the moment you hit one monument, it bubbled them all. The moment you hit one arena, it bubbled them all. I'm personally hoping that if this Theaters of War was at least a little successful for the devs, that they will consider having arenas and monuments stay on individual timers. I think it's great. I think especially for new players, it allows them to get in and get a pretty good chunks of XP for their Titans, as well as collect Titan food. And being able to hit each one, I think as anyone that comes in new to the game, they need support in being able to advance and kind of catch up to any competition around them, because every league is filled with competition now. It's not always going to be simple cakewalk. So here is what I won. I pulled in the 3 stars, the reinforced grip. This is my first new one. The braces of deceit, that was a duplicate relic, and that's the only 2-star event relic that I got. Even from the gold, I still walked away with that 2-star, but that was part of the chances, right? They weren't really giving away any 4-star new things. Everything was 4 stars that were already existing in the game. Again, those different deceits or Iseer relics and whatnot. And again, here you can see that that timer now is set at 23 hours 59 minutes, and it's over 1,000 gems to reset that timer. So this was one thing where there was a bit of an initial re-jerk reaction from quite a few players, even myself. I was kind of like, what, 1,000 gems to do this? You got to be kidding me. And then I realized, wait a minute, you can hit every single arena this time versus just gemming your way through that one best arena. So let's go through and talk about some of these rewards that we have. I'm just going to show some screenshots of each of the rewards I got pretty much in order as I hit through this. You've already seen my first round, but here was another round. I got the Whetstone Runic Tattoo and Reinforced Grip, all as 2 stars. Again, lots of 3 stars, lots of 2 stars. I was actually pretty happy with the relics I was pulling in. More 3-star Runic Tattoos. The Storm Shield, that is a returning one, but again, I was happy to get another Reinforced Grip. The Whetstone is another one of the new relics. Again, more duplicates of 2 stars and 3 stars, but I will be doing some breakdown of the skills that come with these relics. Also received just a couple. I was actually pretty happy it stayed pretty low, of the lightning spells, but I did get some more duplicates of the storm shields, not only just 3 stars, but even some 4 stars. These, again, the Song of Storms was a repeat relic. This is a brand new. It's only a 2-star relic, so anyone that was looking that's new to the game for a 3-star, 4-star version, anything like that, there is only a 2-star Song of Storms. We did see the Thunder's Grasp, again, is another duplicate relic, one that already exists in the game for Lightning. Again, I was pretty happy with the Portal Stone drops. It wasn't just 3 or 6, but those 3-star Portal Stones are the 9 set of Portal Stones you could use to refill, which was pretty nice. I've gotten quite a few of those. Again, more 2 stars. The Whetstones, the Song of Storms, the Runic Tattoos, the Serrated Edges, the Reinforced Grips. Those were pretty popular. The Norse Talisman was another one of the new relics that came in here, the 2-star. It's the only one that I received only as a 2-star. I did not get a 3-star version of it. So I'm curious if that Norse Talisman is one that comes with a higher star rating, or if it is only a 2-star relic. Again, time will tell, and I think we'll definitely find out in the upcoming event. 4-star drop with the Stormbreaker. Again, this was a duplicate for me. Every existing lightning relic that is already in the game, including Eye of the Storm, I already had. So for me, the new things I was walking away with were the 2 stars and 3-star brand new Storm Maidens. And I'm not going to fuse away any of them until I really figure out exactly what I can get out of them, what I can do. For me, I did make the decision, because so many of these relics were duplicates, including all the Norse god ones, the Iseer shields, the Belts of Deceit, the Swords of Deceit, things like that. I decided not to gem any of these arenas, simply because the only new items I was getting out of this were the Storm Maiden ones, and at max they were a 3-star, 2-star relic, so it wasn't really important to me to gem. Some players, again, I think can get major benefits out of gemming those arenas in order to get the Titan XP out of it, which is not a bad decision at all. If you're looking to level up a Titan, gemming it to get those large chunks of XP, you know, the 1,000 plus, the 2,000 plus, really isn't bad. I mean, 2550 in a single hit isn't all that bad. And I started hitting even some of the lower arenas after time with some of the XP relics on there just to boost that. The lower ones I was bringing in my Odin, and I really want to get him leveled up as well. So this was one of my last hits. Again, I was able to get another 3-star runic tattoo. But let's start looking at these relics and really what they offer. The Whetstone. Now the Whetstone, what we do know is that this is going to offer skills that are going to include Storm Maiden damage, Storm Maiden crit, and at higher levels also includes Storm Maiden armor piercing. The Serrated Edge starts out with Titan lightning damage, but at higher levels will also include Storm Maiden damage and Storm Maiden crit. I'm not going to go into percentages now because that stuff could always change, and we'll talk more about those when we probably see the all-new event for the Storm Maidens. The Runic Tattoo, again, brand new relic at higher levels. This Runic Tattoo is going to start out with Storm Maiden health, Storm Maiden armor, and an elemental resist at the higher levels, any one of the 6 available ones. Reinforced Grip, again at higher levels, will offer Titan lightning damage, Storm Maiden armor piercing, and the highest levels will offer up to 3 lightning spells. The one thing that will be really interesting to tell is whether or not that's going to include or be part of the brand new lightning spell that's coming out. For the Norse Talisman, here we're going to see things that include Titan resist against lightning, so it's more of a defensive one. We've got Storm Maiden armor and Storm Maiden health are going to be your higher slots available for the Norse Talisman. Looking at where these, like the Reinforced Grip starts out, you can tell compared to the 2-star higher percentages, 20% rather than some of the lower ones. The Runic Tattoo, I was able to get this leveled up to 2, but it does, again, here start out in your mid-teens for the health of the percentages that you'll get. And then when you really start looking at, again, even more of the additional offensive relics, when you're looking at the Serrated Edge, level 1 here is starting out at 20% Titan lightning damage. Again, the 4 stars, I imagine, will start out even higher at potentially 30% and continue to climb if they follow suit of other relics that are similar in the damage combinations or resistance combinations. You're probably going to be looking somewhere between 40 and 60% set up for those first skills that might include things like damage, health, whether it be Titan or Storm Maiden. You're also going to be looking, you know, depending on what that second skill is. Your crits typically fall in those teens, you know, maybe upwards of 20. Your armors, damages usually float anywhere between 30 and 50%. And when you're looking at things like armor piercing, you're typically falling somewhere around that, you know, 30% or so. With elemental resists, we typically see those reaching upwards of 40%. So the interesting thing will be, will the Storm Maiden relics continue to follow suit of what the other offensive and defensive relics currently do in the game, or will we see something all new? What I'd like to know is your thoughts on Theaters of War with Lightning. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you like the setup that we currently have? In my own personal opinion, I think this would be a pretty happy middle ground for where players want to be able to hit the arenas quite often, where devs need to kind of not offer literally everything available within the arenas. They got to taper it back. The only thing that I wish to see more of with this setup, if we stay with the tiers, which I actually like, the bronze, the silver, the gold, you can kind of pick where you want to play or play them all, is I hope in the future we continue to see more 4-star relics and we also see 4-star Titans. To me, that was one of the best things about Theaters of War, is that 4-star Titans were available and they weren't necessarily hard to get. It might have been a little challenging just because you definitely were spending the gems, but it was an event players were very happy to spend their gems on. And I think that is what really made this event so successful when it first launched, is it's something players were happy to gem. And that's a win-win for both sides. So again, let me know what you think down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Again, I'm GamingJAEGER, and I'm signing out.